In China, a grandmother selling dumplings on the street accepts payment by showing you a piece of paper. In America, Starbucks sometimes can't process your credit card. One country leapfrogged into the future. The other? Still waiting for chip readers to work. This isn't about which country is better. It's about why the same technology took completely different paths. And the answer will actually change how you think about the future of money itself. Stick around, because what happened here is about to happen with AI, electric vehicles, and the next wave of tech disruption. Here's the stat that should blow your mind. Over 1 billion people in China use mobile payments. That's more than the entire population of the United States, Canada, and Mexico combined. WeChat Pay and Alipay together control 90% of the mobile payment market there. They don't just process transactions. They process over $50 trillion annually. That's 50 with 12 zeros. That's more than the entire GDP of the United States. Now here's where it gets weird. America invented the credit card. We pioneered Apple Pay. Silicon Valley created Venmo, Cash App, PayPal, Zelle. We have a dozen payment apps on our phones right now. So why, in 2025, do 67% of Americans still prefer cash or plastic cards for in-store purchases? The answer isn't what you think. It's not about technology. It's not about culture. It's about something way more fascinating: timing. And understanding this will change how you see every tech revolution happening right now. Let's rewind to 2011. China has a massive problem. Not a tech problem, a trust problem. See, credit cards never really took off in China. And it wasn't because Chinese people didn't want them. It's because the infrastructure for credit literally didn't exist. Most people had no credit history. Banks didn't trust consumers. Consumers didn't trust banks. The whole system was stuck. Meanwhile, cash was everywhere. But cash meant dealing with counterfeit bills, and China had a serious counterfeiting problem. It meant the constant risk of robbery. It meant carrying around massive wads of money for even basic purchases. And try running a business when you have to make change for 100 customers a day using crumpled, suspicious-looking bills. Then Alipay, owned by Alibaba, makes a move that changes everything. They didn't try to build a credit card system. They didn't try to install expensive card readers in every store. Instead, they introduced QR code payments. A simple piece of paper with a black and white square. That's it. Think about the genius here. A street vendor selling fried noodles for $2 could suddenly accept digital payments without buying anything. No hardware, no monthly fees, no complicated setup. They just went to Alipay's website, generated a QR code, printed it out, and taped it to their card. This wasn't an upgrade to an existing system. This was a revolution, and it spread like wildfire. Within 5 years, even beggars on the street had QR codes. I'm not exaggerating. There were documented cases of people panhandling with WeChat Pay QR codes around their necks. By 2025, 84% of Chinese users rely on mobile wallets for daily transactions. Entire cities operate cashless. You can live for months without touching a single bill. Kids don't even know what paper money looks like anymore. But here's what makes this story even crazier. It wasn't supposed to work this fast. Experts predicted it would take 20 years. It took less than 10. Why? Because when you have no legacy infrastructure holding you back, you can move at the speed of culture. Now let's talk about America. We already had the perfect solution: credit cards. And honestly, they're amazing. They work everywhere. They give you rewards, 2% cash back, airline miles, fancy lounge access. Some cards literally pay you to use them. And here's the thing that makes this story so ironic. They work too well. See, America's infrastructure was ahead of its time. By the 1990s, we had card readers in virtually every store. We built this massive, interconnected system with thousands of banks, millions of merchants, and trillions of dollars moving through it every year. We created the gold standard for electronic payments. Everyone wanted to copy us. We won. But that system became a trap. Because upgrading it, that's a coordination nightmare. You need to get thousands of banks to agree, hundreds of thousands of retailers to install new equipment, and somehow convince consumers, who are obsessed with their reward points, to abandon a system that literally pays them money. Consumer surveys consistently show the top 3 reasons Americans don't embrace mobile payments. Number 1, security concerns. What if someone hacks my phone? What if I lose it? At least with a credit card, I can call and cancel it. Number 2, no incentive. My credit card gives me 5% back on groceries. What does Apple Pay give me? The privilege of using my phone instead of my wallet? Cool. I'll pass. Number 3, it's just easier. Why pull out my phone, unlock it, open an app, authenticate with Face ID, and then hold it near a terminal when my card is literally right here in my pocket? So while China jumped from cash to mobile in one giant leap, completely skipping the credit card era, America got stuck in the middle. We're like the kid who learned to ride a bike with training wheels and now refuses to take them off because, hey, it works. We're not falling over. Why fix what isn't broken? Sure, in tech hubs like San Francisco or New York, you'll see 50–60% tap-to-pay adoption. But drive 2 hours outside any major city, and you'll still find gas stations that only take cash or places where the chip reader has been broken for 6 months, and they just make you swipe. America didn't fail to innovate. We were held back by our own success. But here's where the story gets really interesting. Because this isn't just about paying for coffee differently. It's about ecosystems. And this is the part that most Americans completely miss. WeChat Pay and Alipay aren't just payment apps. They're super apps. Think about this. Inside WeChat, you can pay bills, order food delivery, book a taxi, invest in mutual funds, apply for loans, buy insurance, transfer money to friends, donate to charity, book doctor appointments, pay your rent, and even file government paperwork. You don't need 12 different apps. You need one. One login, one interface, one ecosystem. It's like if Facebook, Venmo, Uber, Robinhood, and TurboTax all merged into a single app that actually works seamlessly. Meanwhile, in America, we have Venmo for splitting dinner with friends, Cash App for side hustles and buying Bitcoin, Zelle for paying rent, Apple Pay for the stores that accept it, which is still hit or miss, PayPal for online shopping, Amazon Pay for Amazon, and God forbid you try to send money internationally. We have 6 different apps just to accomplish what WeChat does with one button. And here's the brutal truth that nobody wants to admit. America's strength became its weakness. We had such a good system that we had no reason to blow it up and start over. Why would banks abandon a credit card system that makes them billions in interest and transaction fees? Why would Visa and MasterCard, 2 of the most profitable companies on earth, support a system that cuts them out of the equation? China didn't have credit card infrastructure to protect. They didn't have powerful financial lobbies fighting to keep things the same. They didn't have millions of merchants with expensive card readers who complain about having to upgrade again. They just built something better from scratch. And it worked. This is what economists call leapfrog development. When you're behind, you don't catch up by copying the leader step by step. You skip entire generations of technology and jump straight to the newest solution. Africa did this with mobile phones. They never built extensive landline networks. They just went straight to cell towers. India is doing it with digital identity systems. And China did it with payments. Now, before you think China's system is some kind of utopia, let's pump the brakes. Because going fully cashless creates its own set of very real problems. In 2024, something interesting happened. The Chinese government, the same government that had been pushing the cashless revolution, suddenly hit the brakes. They issued new regulations requiring merchants to still accept cash. They mandated that payment systems be more accessible to foreigners and elderly citizens. Why? Because millions of elderly citizens and rural residents were being left behind. They couldn't use smartphones. They couldn't set up digital accounts, which required linking bank accounts, phone numbers, and government IDs. They literally couldn't buy food at their local markets anymore, because vendors had stopped accepting cash entirely. Imagine being 75 years old and suddenly being unable to buy groceries because you don't know how to scan a QR code. That's not innovation. That's exclusion. And then there's the elephant in the room: privacy. Every single transaction in China is tracked. The government can see where you shop, what you buy, who you send money to, what time you take the subway. All of it. Forever. That's not a conspiracy theory. It's literally how the system works. And while some people don't mind trading privacy for convenience, others find it deeply unsettling, especially when that data can be used for social credit scores or government surveillance. Meanwhile, America has its own mess. Credit card fraud costs the U.S. economy billions every year. Data breaches expose millions of card numbers. Identity theft ruins lives. And here's the big one. Americans collectively hold over $1.1 trillion in credit card debt. That's trillion with AT. Credit cards enable spending beyond our means, and the average interest rate is over 20%. That's not a payment system. That's a debt trap. Plus, even our rewards programs have a dark side. Studies show that when you pay with credit, you spend 10 to 15% more than if you paid with cash. The psychological detachment from real money makes us worse at budgeting. We think we're winning with 2% cash back while spending 20% more. So let's be honest. Neither system is perfect. China traded privacy and inclusion for speed and convenience. America chose legacy infrastructure and consumer debt over innovation. Both countries are learning painful lessons about the trade-offs. So what's next? Here's where the story gets even wilder and where the real competition begins. China is now rolling out the digital yuan, a central bank digital currency. Not Bitcoin, not some private cryptocurrency. A government-controlled, programmable currency that can be tracked, controlled, and even set to expire if not spent by a certain date. Think about that. Money that the government can literally program. They could say this stimulus check expires in 30 days, so you better spend it. Or this money can only be used for food, not alcohol. That's not theoretical. Those are features they're testing right now. America is responding with FedNow, a system for instant bank-to-bank transfers that launched in 2023. No more waiting 3 days for payments to clear. No more using Venmo as a workaround. Just real-time money movement through the actual banking system. And slowly, very slowly, America is catching up in other ways. Tap-to-pay adoption jumped to around 60% in major cities. The Fed is pushing real-time payment rails. Even Venmo is trying to transform into a super app with investing features, crypto trading, and shopping. But here's what most people miss. This isn't really about payments anymore. It's about control. Whoever controls the payment system controls the economy. They control what can be bought, what can be sold, who can participate, and who can be shut out. China wants the digital yuan to challenge the dollar's global dominance. America wants to maintain control over the world's reserve currency. Europe is building its own systems. India has UPI. Brazil has Pix. Everyone is racing to build the infrastructure for the next 50 years of commerce. And here's the real lesson that extends way beyond payments. China went cashless because they had no choice. Their existing system was broken, so they had nothing to lose by trying something radical. America stayed with cards because we already had something that worked well enough, so the pain of changing wasn't worth it. Yet, this is happening right now with electric vehicles. China is going all in because they never dominated gas-powered cars. America is hesitating because we have massive auto manufacturing infrastructure we don't want to abandon. It's happening with AI regulation. Europe is moving fast because they don't have tech giants to protect. America is moving slow because we do. It's happening with high-speed rail, renewable energy, and every other major technological shift. The question for America isn't will we go fully digital with payments? It's when will it become painful enough that we're finally forced to upgrade. Because one thing's guaranteed, the future of money isn't plastic. The future is already here. It's just unevenly distributed. And we're living through the transition period where old and new coexist awkwardly, waiting to see which one blinks. What technology do you think America is falling behind on right now, the same way we fell behind on mobile payments? If this video changed how you think about money and technology, smash that like button. It helps more people discover content like this. Subscribe if you want more deep dives into how technology shapes different countries in completely different ways. And hit the bell so you don't miss the next one. I've got a video coming next week about why Japan still uses fax machines in 2025 while being a tech powerhouse. Trust me, the answer is just as fascinating as this one. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.